6 months ago, my friend Nathan did something that shocked everyone who knew him. He walked out of his own wedding anniversary dinner. Not because his wife Angela insulted him in public, not because she was flirting with someone else. He walked out because she asked him for the third time that week if he needed her permission to go to his monthly poker game with his college buddies. A tradition he had maintained for 20 years before he even met her. Nathan stood up, put $200 on the table to cover the bill, looked at Angela calmly and said, "I will see you at home when you are ready to treat me with respect." Then he left. You won't believe what happened next. Angela sat there stunned for 10 minutes. Then she drove home expecting to find Nathan packing his bags or planning to sleep on the couch. Instead, she found him in the living room reading a book completely calm. She tried to start a fight. Nathan looked up from his book and said, "I love you, but I'm not having this conversation until you are ready to talk like an adult." Then he went back to reading. Angela spent the next 2 hours going through every emotion possible. Anger, confusion, fear, and finally something she had not felt in their relationship for over a year: respect. That night, Angela apologized. Not a fake apology designed to end the argument, a real apology where she admitted she had been testing Nathan for months, pushing boundaries, seeing how much he would tolerate before he finally pushed back. Before we continue, please subscribe to this channel if you want to understand the invisible tests that women run on men, tests that most men fail without even knowing they are being tested. Hit that notification bell, because what I am about to reveal will completely change how you see your relationship. Here is what Nathan finally understood after 2 years of marriage. Every woman does this. Not because she's a bad person, not because she wants to make your life miserable. It is her biology, her subconscious, running a program that asks one simple question: is this man I am with really the rock I thought he was, or was it all an act? And the moment that question appears in her subconscious, the tests begin. Let me tell you Nathan's full story, because it perfectly illustrates a pattern that destroys more relationships than infidelity, dishonesty, or incompatibility combined. Nathan is 47 years old, architect, second marriage, no kids. He met Angela at a gallery opening 3 years ago. Angela was 42, corporate lawyer, never married, no kids. Beautiful woman, sharp mind, independent, successful. The first year was incredible. Angela was easygoing, understanding, low maintenance. Nathan would go to his poker games. Angela never complained. Nathan would spend Saturday mornings at the gym. Angela encouraged it. Nathan would travel for work. Angela trusted him completely. Angela had her own life, her own friends, her own hobbies. They were two independent people who chose to be together, not two people who needed each other to function. Nathan thought he had finally found someone who understood what a healthy relationship looked like. Someone mature enough to appreciate that he had a life before her and that life didn't disappear just because they got married. Then, something shifted. Around the 18-month mark, about 6 months after their wedding, the complaints started. Small at first. You spend a lot of time with your friends. Do you really need to go to the gym so often? That trip for work seems longer than necessary. Nathan, being a reasonable man, tried to compromise. He started skipping some poker games. He cut his gym time from 2 hours to 1. He tried to work from home more. But the complaints did not stop. They escalated. Soon it was, "You care more about your friends than me. You are prioritizing your body over our relationship. Why do you need so much time away from me?" Nathan was confused. What changed? This was not the woman he married. The woman he married understood that he needed his own space, his own identity, his own life outside the relationship. But Angela was not the same woman anymore. Or more accurately, she was now showing her true programming. See, what Nathan did not understand is that when he was still a challenge, when the relationship was new, when he was unpredictable and had his own mission, Angela's subconscious saw him as valuable. High-value men have options. High-value men have lives that do not revolve around one woman. High-value men are not desperate for approval. But over time, as Nathan got comfortable, as he started prioritizing the relationship over everything else, as he started compromising his boundaries to keep the peace, Angela's subconscious began to doubt. Is he really that valuable? Or did he just put on an act to win me? If he is willing to give up everything for me, maybe he is not worth that much after all. This is the harsh truth that most men never understand. When you put her on a pedestal, when you make her the center of your universe, when you sacrifice your identity to make her happy, her subconscious does not see love. It sees weakness. And once her subconscious categorizes you as weak, the tests begin. Let me explain how these tests work. The test starts small. She complains about something minor just to see if you will defend your position or cave immediately. Nathan caved. He skipped poker. Test failed. She makes an unreasonable request disguised as a reasonable compromise. Nathan compromised again. He cut his gym time. Test failed. She creates artificial drama to see if you will remain calm or get emotionally reactive. Nathan tried to explain, to justify, to apologize. Test failed. Every time Nathan bent, every time he put Angela's feelings above his own dignity, he confirmed her subconscious suspicion. You were right to doubt me. I really am weak. Now, let me tell you about Nathan's colleague, a man named Raymond. Raymond went through the exact same pattern but took it much further. Raymond was 50 years old, owned his own consulting firm, married for 12 years to a woman named Patricia. The first year, Raymond was a rock. He went to the gym 5 days a week. He had poker night every Wednesday. He worked on his side projects every Sunday morning. Patricia would complain occasionally, but Raymond would just smile and say, "Honey, this is what keeps me sharp." And that was that. But gradually, the complaints turned into guilt trips. "You love poker more than me. We never spend time together. Your projects are more important than our marriage." And instead of holding his ground, Raymond started to surrender. Poker night turned into maybe once a month. The gym became sporadic. The side projects disappeared completely. His friends stopped calling because Raymond always had to check with Patricia first. Within 3 years, Raymond had no life outside his marriage. His entire existence revolved around making Patricia happy. He thought he was being a good husband. He thought compromise was love. He thought sacrifice was care. But Patricia did not see a loving husband. She saw a weak man who gave up his soul to avoid conflict, and she lost all respect for him. The sex life died. The affection disappeared. Patricia became critical of everything Raymond did. Nothing he did was good enough because she was not really criticizing his actions. She was expressing her disgust at his weakness. By year 10, Raymond was a shell of the man he used to be. Anxious, depressed, walking on eggshells, desperate for any scrap of approval from a woman who had lost all attraction to him. When I talked to Raymond, he asked me what happened. I gave her everything she asked for. I made her the center of my world. Why does she treat me with such contempt? I told him the brutal truth. Because you gave her everything. A high-value man does not give everything. He has boundaries. He has standards. He has a life that does not depend on any one person's approval. The moment you sacrificed your identity, the moment you made her your entire world, her subconscious marked you as low value. And once that verdict is rendered, it is almost impossible to overturn. This is what Nathan finally understood after 2 years of slowly losing himself. He realized he was on the same path as Raymond. He was sacrificing his identity piece by piece, thinking he was being a good husband, when in reality he was destroying Angela's attraction to him. That wedding anniversary dinner was Nathan's line in the sand. He decided he would rather risk the marriage than continue being disrespected. Here's what happened in the days and weeks after Nathan walked out of that restaurant. Angela tried to test him again the next day. She gave him the silent treatment, expecting Nathan to chase her, to apologize, to beg for forgiveness. Nathan did not chase. He went about his day as normal. He went to the gym. He worked on his projects. He made plans with his friends. After 2 days of silence, Angela came to him. She said, "We need to talk about what happened." Nathan said, "I am ready to talk whenever you are ready to treat me with respect. Until then, I'm perfectly fine maintaining this distance." Angela was shocked. This was not the Nathan she had been training for the past year. This was not the Nathan who apologized for things that were not his fault. This was not the Nathan who rearranged his entire life to avoid her displeasure. This was the Nathan she met 3 years ago. The Nathan who had his own life, his own mission, his own boundaries. The Nathan her subconscious was attracted to. Over the next month, Nathan maintained his boundaries. He went to every poker game. He went to the gym 5 days a week. He worked on his projects. He was pleasant and loving to Angela, but he was no longer willing to sacrifice his identity to keep the peace. And something remarkable happened. Angela stopped testing him. Not because she consciously decided to stop, but because her subconscious got the answer it was looking for. This man is strong. This man cannot be controlled. This man has value. The respect came back. The affection returned. The attraction rekindled. Nathan told me recently, "I spent a year slowly killing our marriage by trying to make her happy. I saved it in one night by finally being willing to walk away." Now let me give you the framework to understand and pass these tests. First, understand that these tests are not conscious. Angela did not wake up one day and decide to make Nathan's life difficult. This is her biology, her subconscious checking if Nathan is still the valuable man she thought she married. From an evolutionary perspective, this programming made sense. In a world of scarcity where resources were limited and survival was difficult, a woman needed to ensure her partner was strong enough to protect and provide. The tests were unconscious ways to verify his strength. But here's the problem. This ancient software is still running in a modern environment where it no longer serves its original purpose. What worked to ensure survival now destroys relationships. Second, recognize that her subconscious sorts men into two simple categories: strong and weak, dominant and submissive, leaders and followers. There is no middle ground. You are either the rock or you are the water that flows around it. The strong man has a clear mission. He knows his worth. He does not wait for her permission to make a decision. He does not shrink from confrontation. He does not panic during her emotional outbursts. He is not terrified by the prospect of her leaving because his world does not collapse without her. The weak man lives for her approval. He is terrified of her anger. It is easier for him to surrender on a major principle than to withstand 1 minute of her displeasure. He trades his principles, his boundaries, his very soul just to avoid a fight. He confuses love with capitulation. He confuses understanding with weakness. He thinks his job is to make her happy. Third, understand that once she has categorized you as weak, it is extremely difficult to change that perception in her mind. She saw you crumble. She saw you sacrifice your soul for her. You cannot make her unsee it. That is why it is vital to establish your boundaries from day one. You must keep your core, your values, your self-respect, your identity. You must never let your boundaries dissolve, because once you are permanently in the weak category, the relationship is already dead, even if you live together for another 20 years. Fourth, understand that real boundaries are not threats. If you talk to that guy again, I am leaving. That is a threat. That is weakness. That is an attempt to control her. A true boundary is about you. You are not trying to control her. You are simply controlling what you will tolerate. The weak man tries to control her. The strong man controls himself. No drama, no threats, just consequences. Fifth, embrace the paradox. The moment you genuinely do not need her is the moment she will need you the most. The moment you are truly not afraid of losing her is the moment she will be terrified of losing you. The moment you are strong enough to walk away is the moment she will do everything to stay. This is not a game. This is not a trick. This is a fundamental law of masculine and feminine energy. Every woman does this to her man. The test is coming. You do not get to choose whether you will be tested. You only get to choose whether you will pass or fail. Nathan passed his test that night at the restaurant. Raymond is still failing his tests every day. The difference between them, Nathan was willing to risk the relationship to maintain his self-respect. Raymond sacrificed his self-respect trying to save the relationship. Here is the uncomfortable truth. If you have been in the cycle of weakness for years, if she has already firmly placed you in the weak category, it may be too late for this relationship. Not because she is a bad person, but because her subconscious has rendered a verdict that is nearly impossible to overturn. You can start setting boundaries, but she will only see it as a temporary tactic. You can get in shape, but she will still see the weak person who begged her to stay. You can start earning more, but to her, you will remain the guy who asked permission to see his friends. This is why prevention is so much more effective than cure. Maintain your boundaries from day one. Keep your identity intact. Never sacrifice your self-respect for temporary peace. Nathan saved his marriage because he caught the pattern early enough. Raymond is living in a dead relationship, staying together only because leaving feels harder than enduring. So here's the question. Which path are you on? Are you Nathan maintaining your identity while building a relationship, or are you Raymond slowly sacrificing who you are in the hope that surrender equals love? The tests are coming. The only question is, are you ready? Subscribe if this message resonated with you. Share it with men who need to hear it. And remember, the strong man is not someone you become by trying. The strong man is who you are when you strip away all the fear, all the neediness, all the desperate craving for approval. That is the man she met. That is the man her subconscious is looking for. And that is the man you must remain.